Hi everyone, beautiful day, a little bit cooler than last week, sat here in my car. So today I'm just going to explain for people that may not know a little bit about what diabetes is. So there are several different types of diabetes, main ones being type 2 and type 1. So type 2, and forgive me, I'm not a doctor, but in case I've got anything a little bit wrong, but type 2, my understanding is insulin resistance. So it could be you have somebody with type 2, they are usually asked to control type 2 using their diet. Sometimes they're given medication, sometimes they are put onto insulin as well. But in general, it's insulin resistance, meaning that their body cannot cope with the amount of carbs or sugars that the person is consuming for whatever reason. That's type 2 as far as I'm aware. Type 1, which is what I have been diagnosed, is an autoimmune condition, meaning that your body no longer produces insulin because your body has attacked, I think it's beta cells, but your body no longer makes insulin, and therefore you have to take insulin, have it injected, inject it yourself in order to counteract sugars in your blood. So I'm type 1. Type 1s are usually or quite often diagnosed at a younger age, so it could be young children, babies, young adults. People assume that if you've been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, you were diagnosed young. However, it seems that there's lots of people that are diagnosed as a type 1 now, or it's becoming more common, or more people are made aware of it, I guess, being diagnosed in later life. So I was diagnosed at the age of 60, very unusual. I do have a couple of other autoimmune conditions, so I'm guessing that means I'm more liable to, if you've got one autoimmune, you're more likely to have other autoimmune conditions. So for me, I wasn't overweight, most certainly wasn't obese. Going by the BMI standards, my BMI was around 21 prior to my diagnosis, and for whatever reason my body suddenly stopped producing insulin, and my blood became very acidic. The more sugar that was in the blood, the body couldn't get rid of it, and the more acidic my blood became, and I had something called diabetic ketoacidosis, which is different to ketones when people are on a keto diet or are carnivore. That's completely different altogether. So my blood became very acidic, and that's how I was diagnosed as being a type 1 diabetic. So to counteract that, I have to take insulin. If I don't take insulin, I will die, which was basically what nearly happened being diagnosed as diabetic ketoacidosis. If I don't take enough insulin, then my blood sugars being high will gradually destroy my organs, and I will still die, but slower, a lot slower. And if I take too much insulin, I can die very quickly. If I've go into something called hypo, which means I've got too much insulin in my body, and if I haven't counteracted it, I could very quickly go into a coma and die. So I have to take insulin for life, and it's something you have to literally be aware of, where your blood sugars are, how you're feeling, what you're eating. All sorts of things can affect your blood sugars. Now, as I said, I changed my diet to carnivore 2 years ago. So in actual fact, I don't actually eat anything that has sugars in it, or very few carbohydrates. I probably have 0 to less than 10 carbohydrates a day on the days where I might have something that does contain carbohydrates. So my body, I do not take on board food that contains carbohydrates or sugars. But my body still produces blood sugars via my liver, something called glycogen. That's why even though I don't eat sugar, don't eat carbohydrates, why I still have to take insulin, because my body no longer produces insulin. So I have to take insulin via injection, which could be, I can take, how many jabs a day do I perhaps have? On a day where I don't have to do many jabs, it's probably about 5 or 6 injections a day. On a bad day when I'm forever correcting, it might be I'm taking 12, 13, 14 injections a day, which is a lot. So that's it for now. Talk again in due course. Bye for now.